Hi, everybody. I am Michelle Tennant Nicholson, the Chief Creative Officer of Wasabi Publicity and the co-author of 21 Day PR Action Guide. And the subtitle is The Who, What, When, and Where to Launch a Successful PR Campaign. This is the start of the November 2020 PR Challenge. We're going to take 21 days. You're going to do a PR campaign from the beginning to the end. Anybody who is wanting to actually join in the middle of the challenge can do so. However, those that can start right now and then do your 21 days, you'll get it in before Thanksgiving. So we're going to meet today. We're going to meet next Friday, the 13th, and then the 20th. And then that's going to be the last Friday before Thanksgiving. Then we'll actually start another challenge in December. One thing that people don't realize is that the news cycle actually wants to be pitched regularly. Therefore, at Wasabi Publicity, we always do a fresh campaign for all of our clients, and then we work that campaign. So we create an angle, a pitch, media materials, and then we pitch our target media friends, and then we work it all month and then repeat. So that's what we're going to actually do this month. And so if you don't have this, my partner here, Hannah Colison, is going to put in the chat room where you can get it, PitchRate.com. It's a media networking site that I helped co-found. If you're wanting to know when to get information for the future, where to register and so forth, you can go to Wasabi Publicity's blog or Wasabi Publicity's YouTube channel. And an easy to remember URL to find my blog is storytellertothemedia.com. If you're looking for a partner to help you with anything, the reason why we're doing this right now and have been since the spring is many people are trying to pivot, trying to do new things in the pandemic, trying to just keep food on the table and a roof over your head. And so this is our giveaway. This is a free PR coaching call. We're giving away the workbook. There's no strings attached, no opt-in. We don't ask for your email, that kind of thing. This truly is a giveaway. And what we're going to do fresh and new in the series of calls for November is we're going to actually start with questions. I do have, what we said in the blog and what we said in the registration to actually cover today. But I thought, wouldn't it be awesome just to start each call with you to see what questions you have? So not only practice pitching yourself in the chat room, but throw some questions in the chat right now. And I'm going to just randomly pick one, and we're going to start with that. I'll do a short lecture on answering the question, then we'll break into rooms, and then we'll meet each other, practice our pitching, talk a little more, and then we'll come back together and then actually kind of debrief. So we have a nice happy dozen people here in the call today. So throw some questions. I don't know, can we do some music? Let's see, I don't like, let me see if I can't pull up some fun music while we're waiting for some questions. Hold on. Oh, that came up with an ad. There we go. Questions. Really? No questions? Okay. Okay, Rosalind. Let's see you. Let's talk with Rosalind. Rosalind writes, I offer free expert digital gifts to divorcing parents during January for Child-Centered Divorce Month on a special website. Media aren't picking up. So then the question I hear is, how can I get media to pick it up? Is that the question, Rosalind?
It is.
Okay. So Rosalind's actually been done a challenge or two before. So let's start by looking at what's not working. So a lot of times to find something that works, we have to look at like what's missing. Okay. So have you created, first of all, we're just going to do a mini challenge and kind of just check off a list with Rosalind, make sure she's done. And if you're like wanting to just know like, well, what's a great checklist? We do have checklists and things and different things inside, but don't forget always a table of contents is a great thing, right? So the first thing, your media materials. So did you create media materials, a press kit, a pitch, a press release, images, questions to ask? Are those things actually created somewhere?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, can you send a link so that I can see them?
That would take too long for me to access all of that information, but I have a special website that gets put up every December and January. It's only in January, and so it's not visible the rest of the year.
Okay, let's just stop right there, okay? Because it's actually the first part of any, so when you're interacting with the press, they, let me give you a different story, okay? Did you ever work with children, Rosalind?
Yes.
Okay, I used to be a children's entertainer. I don't know if I've shared that before, in my 20s. And one of the things that we would do is at the birthday parties is we would set up art centers around. So if I'm at a birthday party with a bunch of children, let's say 5th graders, and I just tell them about puppets, do you think that they're going to be excited or bored by that story?
Bored.
Why?
Because visual makes a big difference.
And they want to touch it, they want to have it.
Right.
Okay, the press is the same. I don't want to mean to belittle them by likening them to children, but they literally will run a story if they have something in front of them.
Absolutely. So I send them a press release with the pitch questions and things like that.
Yeah, but
I've been doing it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you can't show us. So that's
well, I can jump into my file and look. Yeah, I just didn't want to take up too much of your time.
No, but this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, because we're looking for what's missing.
Yes.
And oftentimes the speed of press works. It's so quick right now. I've literally had people call me on the weekends and they're looking for a photo. Do you think that I have time to get in and show them? So I have online press kit and I can go, oh, just go to searchpresskits.com. Oh, search the name Pamela. And they're like, oh, great, here's the image gallery. So I want you to think about a way to make it easy for the press to find that. Okay, so that you're in a conversation with them over the phone and they say, oh, that's great, Rosalind. Okay, you offer free expert digital gifts. Where is it? Let me see it. I did, because I know you. I know that you've got the press releases, you've got the information. So like I'm too going, Hunter, wonder why they're not picking it up. Same issue with the kids, right? It sounds like, oh, I want the puppet and everything, but I can't pick up the puppet. So Hannah, release back to me so I can share the screen. I don't know if I can share screens. Yes, I can. Thank you. So let me just show you all something. So I can go to, so one of the things that my business partner brought to the table, Drew Gerber, he had a .com background. And I was, this was in 2002, I was working with the Wall Street Journal. And I was working with the philanthropy reporter. By the way, today she has a column called the Bonds column. Her name is Elizabeth Bernstein. And at the time, she wanted to, we were representing Grameen Foundation. They do microfinancing around the world. Later, they won a Nobel Peace Prize for Dr. Muhammad Yunus, who had actually created the whole program worldwide. And I'm on the phone in 2002, and she says, I'm going to deadline in a few hours. If you can get me a photo, I'll run it today. And I was trying to email her, and she's like, I don't see it. I don't see it. I'm like, I'm sending it to you. She's like, I don't see it. And so I'm just completely flabbergasted. I'm just like, I don't know how to get past the Wall Street Journal firewall. So I was near tears, and Drew was walking around the office. And he's like, "What's your problem?" I'm like, I can't get this photo to the Wall Street Journal." He goes, "Well, use the FTP site I sent you." And I was like, "What?" At the time, FTP was big, right? And I knew what that meant, but I didn't know what he was talking about. He goes, "I set you up a site so that you can upload all your materials, and then you just send it as a link." And I went, "What?" I'm gonna show you. And that's when I finally figured out what capacity he had given me as somebody working with the Wall Street Journal. I said, every marketing, every publicist needs this. And that's our technology. That's one of our secret sauces. Let me show you. But listen, if you're like, "Oh, I don't want that particular technology," just use your LinkedIn or your Dropbox but it's got to make sense to the press person. Okay. Here you go.
Michelle, is there an email address I can get sent to you?
An email address? Oh,
Yeah,
yes. Hannah, put my Gmail. She said, "Rosalind, you're sending me materials."
yes.
Give her 5starpublicist@gmail.com in the chat. 5 spelled either way. So here we are. We got a press kit, right? And so I can say, "Oh, go to searchpresskits.com," and you can put the name Pamela in here, or you can just click on this, right? And then she's got images. And sometimes, just because they have a good image, the press will actually use this. There she is with Richard Branson. Sometimes they just need a space to fill. And so sometimes if you just get a click, like, they'll say, "Hey, I want a better one to show you would be our pets," right? So we have Veterans Day coming up next week, and people have been going crazy about our client who reunites war dogs with their veteran Marine or Navy pilot, whoever they're working with, right? So this is what it looks like, the press kit. But if you click on images, what they really want are these juicy images, right? They want a juicy image of this dog reuniting with their handler. These are war dogs that go out and sniff bombs and so forth. Let's take a few other pictures, right? Like this one, right? This is a duty dog. So you start to get into these pictures. Here's one with the handler. I mean, we start to tear up, right? These dogs often don't get good retirements. And so this nonprofit just reunites them. Here's more. Let's see. Here's one. Oh, your heart is like, "Oh my God, they're back together after being in war together," right? And that's all they want. This particular photo was in USA Today. Okay, so Rosalind's going to send me the information. I'm going to take a look at it.
Yeah, I don't have the email address.
5starpublicist@gmail.com.
Oh, I'm sorry. 5starpublicist@gmail.com. Thank you.
It's also in the chat, Rosalind. That, by the way, I've had like 30 email addresses, and that goes to one email address that I actually manage with my team. But again, Rosalind, it's not going to be as powerful as you just giving them the URL. Okay.
Yeah. So can I share something about that? Because that may be a problem. The URL is an opt-in for people to give their email address, and then they get access to dozens of free digital gifts from divorce experts around the world. But they have to put in their email first. Now, I never ask the press to do that. I send them directly to the page.
I just did a search on your name, and I got child centered.
This is my year-round website, but it's not the special website for Child Centered Divorce Month. It's a separate one in January, and it's not open yet. So that's why I'm not sending you the URL.
Oh, I see.
I haven't. Okay. I'll be doing that very soon.
But we found what's missing right away. This is what's missing. It needs to be connected to your platform.
So that will be happening, obviously, by next week. The website will be up. But when they get to the website, they're seeing experts with gifts, a list of experts from all over the world providing free digital ebooks, videos, e-courses. So the valuable content is all there from legitimate experts. But
so
my
that's
hook
the
is
other,
off.
okay, I hear something else here. Okay, so the other piece of it is you're lining up for the press a bunch of experts, but they're not necessarily going to interview you about that. They might pick off those experts and then interview them. But you're the one who created the holiday. You're the one who has you know, enough expertise to talk about the statistics around a particular holiday. So we want to make sure that your materials, again, this is really juicy. I like, there's a ton of thoughts going through my head right now. We want to make sure, and one of the things that we've been talking about in the past is, are your materials for the press? Are they media materials, or are they general consumer materials?
Well, the website is general consumer materials, but what I'm sending you right now, I just sent the email, is a sample press release. And I've been varying it for over the years because I've been doing this for more than 10 years. And every year I try to tweak it or vary it and change it to see if it gets better response.
Okay, so here it is. She sent it to me, and then here's the, okay. You go right into the talking points, and then what we don't give them an opportunity to know who the expert is. Hi, Good Morning America. Did you know that January is Child-Centered Divorce Month? Or even better, hi, Good Morning America producer first name. Do you need someone to talk about Divorce Month? Did you know it's January? It's Child-Centered Divorce Month. I'm the one who created the holiday. If you would like to speak to me about this, I'm available. What I'm going to talk about is the biggest mistake divorcing parents make and the best gift divorced parents can give to their children. This is like just a little, don't give talking points yet. I would say, you know, do you want some information? And here I'm going to link to a press release. Please let me know. You see? So it's more like, so everybody would think through the, and then you could even write down on your notepad the last time you got a flyer in the mail from a local grocery store or a local store. They're trying to get your attention, and on the front of it was it just said household number. Did you pay attention to it? Especially in the political season. Did we pay attention to those?
No.
We did not. When you see that something is handwritten, do you open those and it says, Dear Rosalind or Dear Michelle, thank you so much for all the work that you did on the asphalt plant. You really made a difference for me. You think I read that? I did.
Yeah.
Right? It's a card versus a flyer. The way your pitch, Rosalind, this media material right here looks like a flyer, and it's going to be disregarded.
See, and I thought I was trying to get to the point because respecting their time and energy, and not because I've done more personal things in the past, and I was cleaning it up and trying to be tighter, but I'm missing the whole personal connection. I could see that from what you're saying.
Yeah, let's just, you know, I'm just going to do just for fun, and then we're going to break into a group. Just for fun, I'm just going to put top journalist on divorce. Let's just see what happens. Okay, we got something here in 2019. I like to just kind of cruise down, just like to see if there's anything new. Here's something new, okay? February 7th, 2020. That's fresher than these others, okay? Even though these other ones are read more, so says Google. I'm going to go right into this one, just see what happens, okay? So when marriage story is a reality, how divorcing couples play real estate games in LA, okay? Peter. So Peter wrote about this for Hollywood. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting, Peter. So then I've got, then I would actually keep this. Let's just do that. I'm going to put that in the chat. Okay, I'm going to keep his name. And I'm just going to actually look and see what Peter is all about. I'm going to see if this goes to Hollywood Reporter. It probably will. Just kind of see like, oh, I'm going to then share it. Okay, great. That's not what I want to do. Let's just see what Peter's all about. There he is. Here's Twitter. He's a writer in Los Angeles. Let's see what he's writing about. So Peter, he, sure, I'll follow him. If I'm going to pitch him, I'm going to follow him. Look and see what he's actually writing about. Young Hollywood, what he's tweeting about, Beverly Hills. CNN cutting. I also look to see what he's doing. This is old. This is a really old Twitter account. So then I'm gonna go back to Google and kind of look to see where else. There he is, Muckrack. Okay, now he's writing for the New York Times. Okay, is it fresh? Let's see what he did 10 days ago. Okay, that's fresh. He's writing in German. So now I know that he's also bilingual. Here he writes, and so I'm just gonna get in his world a little bit, right? Just kind of get to know. You just get a quick read. How the court's coping with the crisis. So he's got this little, he likes to talk about real estate. He likes to talk about Hollywood. He likes to talk about politics, a little bit of everything, right? He writes for Billboard, Hollywood Reporter. And then what I would say is, what I would write him, say, hey, Peter, I was just reading your article from February about when, marriage stories, reality, how divorcing couples play. I wondered if you'd be interested in January, I created a holiday, and I'm wondering if you're covering any other celebrities who are divorcing, and how we can actually make things a little more child-centered. Even better, Rosalind, if you had a Hollywood couple that actually did the child-centered work that you're purporting to do, feed him that. And so just an idea, I don't know if you know about that holiday in January. I hope you're well. Really love that one story, by the way. And then also let him know that you read something recent. Really love the work that you did, in LA Mag. Right. But he's got an international scope, so, and then bilingual. Interesting guy, right? So then I'm just gonna probably do a little search on him and then pitch him. Boom, you're done. And then there's going to be other people who do that you can actually buy lists and whatnot. We actually have a talking about, so I can actually put in the word divorce, and I can actually see everybody who's been talking about divorce recently.
Wow.
If you want a list like that, we do one-off lists. That's the first year that we've done that. Ask Hannah if you need something like that, and she'll get you pricing on that. But the other thing is that I would just look to see who carries the marriage beat. So if they're covering relationships, celebrities, the marriage beat, then you can actually pitch them based on that tie-in. So what did we learn from that question? That question really was about, gosh, why aren't the press picking it up? From what I see, just glancing at your stuff, Rosalind, they just can't easily pick it up and run with it. Right? Our job is really to make, as information officers, is really to make their job very easy. And so they just have to work a little bit, and they're feeling a little bit like Rosalind she just sent this out to everybody. Not just me. That's what this reads, is like everybody got this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break into small groups, and then what just opened up as far as personalizing your media materials as we're creating them, and then we'll come back.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Really
You're welcome,
appreciate that.
My pleasure. I was talking with Rita, and Rita has a novel that she's actually publicizing. So let me share that. The Unintended Hero here. This is, she's the persnickety proofreader. So this is her latest novel, and you can see we were talking about reviews. She's got reviews starting here. But the way to actually publicize, so the storyline actually talks about catching a flight on the way to a medical conference and so forth. He fully expects to be back in time for his air shift at the local radio station. So anybody who's going to be going to a medical conference or has a radio show, or they can identify with the character, that would be a target that you could actually pitch your novel to. We had a woman who was a planner. She did event planning, and it was, the novel was just about an event planner and the different things that happened to her globally as she did these events. And so we got a lot of play from event planning journals and event planning trade associations, and they just think that that's kind of fun to like do an excerpt, inside their journal or their newsletter about, and oh, this really cool novel actually has an event planner and her adventures around the world. Meanwhile, she also did different types of broadcast TV interviews and whatnot about event planning. So you want to look at like, what's your expertise? Rita's expertise is proofreading, but then there's also the storyline, the natural story of the characters in the novel, because not every novel is going to be like, or not every book is going to be like, oh, here are tips and techniques you can do, and then we're going to make the PR campaign around the tips and techniques. If you've got a novel, then it's really the storyline of those characters. Does that make sense, Rita?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, great. Except that the whole medical conference was just a ruse.
Oh, there you go. Well, then just stick with radio station people, you can help them out. The problem with radio station hosts is they're not big readers. They're talkers.
Yeah, I know. I in a past life, I did radio. Well, back in the 80s. In fact, as recently as last year, I was news director of a local radio station.
Well, then you could lead with that.
I know.
Yeah, you could lead with that too, right? Because they want to speak to people like themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Especially those who have aspirations to do a novel. They might have you on just to pick your brain about what you've done.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. We had an interview with our guy who's the Zen millionaire. He's like your Tony Robbins of Japan, Jack Canfield of, just sold tons of books in the personal development sphere in Japan. And we had one podcaster who was really interested in selling his books in Japan. And that's the main reason why he booked him. I was listening to the interview and I was like, oh, he's really just getting tips on how to sell that many books in Japan like our client did. It's always funny because you never know what really motivates a person, but sometimes it's just they want the information too, and the press, inquiring minds, as you know. So let's anything else, Rita, for you before I move on?
I guess I'm just wondering how to promote the book. It's the third book in a series. They are all standalone books, so you could pick up the third book and it would be an interesting read, I hope. An engaging read, at least, without having read the first two. But my hope would be that someone reading the third book would say, hey, this is the third book in a series. Let me go back and look at the first two. But other than Facebook and word of mouth and personal appearances, which have been all canceled, the 3 that I normally do every year in our area have all been canceled because of COVID. And last year, one of them, I sold almost 60 books in a 3-day week.
So let me just articulate the question for you. So the question really is how can you promote the third book in a series?
Right.
Okay. My recommendation is to actually leverage reader groups. So Goodreads or indie bookstores, anybody who's actually selling your book or that you have a tie-in to that bookstore. There's lots of online events for readers right now. So they're actually holding meet the author events. It's interesting, you know, years ago, I called the independent bookstore locally here when we were representing Lynn McTaggart in her book. It was on energy work. And I asked the local, I said, you know what I think is really going to be big in the future is online meet the author events. And she goes, nah. And I said, well, what if we just try one out with you? And she's like, okay. She's like, I'm game to do that. So then I went back and I offered it. I offered it to Lynn and then another client, Anita, to do it here in Asheville and then also in Portland. There was another independent bookstore. And it kind of fizzled. You know, I was like the only one who was stoked about it. Like, I think this is amazing, right? And then you're doing a book club, but it's via Zoom. But before the pandemic, nobody wanted to meet that way but me. Okay. Now that there's the pandemic, everybody's meeting that way. And I can't tell you how many meet the author events I've been, you know, actually invited to this way. And I've actually thought about, there was a few that, you know, of some books that I've read where I'm like, oh, I really want to make it, but then I have like an obligation or something. But that's what I would actually strategically look at audiences that you're naturally connected to and see if they don't want to meet the author event, just like you did with the first two books, right? There's going to be people who want to meet with the author, especially those who share something in common with those characters or with you. Okay.
Okay.
So good luck with
All
that.
right.
Keep us informed. I've been getting emails and updates from people from last month. Clemens wanted to tell everybody hello and that she is pitching. She actually included her stuff, you know, because we were all like, oh my God, you need to not wait till February. Remember, in a past thing, we just thought that she really should get out there. And she's getting, that's one reason why she's not on November calls, because she's actually getting the newsletters out and the news about her memoir writing services. So that's really wonderful. So let's talk about what we're talking about in the first part of the PR challenge. So the things that I promised that we would talk about, which is the first part of all challenges, is creating a critical first impression, creating a bio, creating news and story ideas, the online press kit format, and the big why. We've already talked about the online press kit format. Let's talk a little more about that. In past, if you go to the, Hannah, if you didn't already put in the, put the YouTube channel link for everybody so that they can get past calls. And you can look at, there was a past call that we did that we really got into first impressions, because we talked about, have you Googled yourself? And then there's another one where we really talked about bios and whatnot and creating news and story ideas. I'm really thrilled that Rosalind, what was missing for her really was like having this accessible media material. It's media centric material. It's easy for them to kind of grab and use. But let's talk a little more about what makes a good press kit. And if you get the PR action guide, that actually walks you through how to do that. You get down here under bio, but these, so it's page 35 through 54, really lays out a press kit for you and the things that you need to do. I'm just going to show you right now, because a lot of times people go, oh, I already have a press kit. Okay, I already have that done. That's just, you know, there's definitely, let me just go back to Rosalind, not to pick Rosalind's apart, but let's just look and see. Okay, Rosalind. So here we are at her public, her owned asset. Remember, we've talked about paid, earned, and owned. This is an owned asset. This is something that Rosalind owns. And if you look here, this is the navigation. We're looking for something that the press they would definitely go to media. So if I was a person like wanting to interview her, I would go here. So let's see what you got there for us. Okay, awesome. You have past coverage. Okay. And then I've got, okay, great. So I could actually interview her about child-centered divorce. Okay, great. Now what? Okay, they're not going to watch this unless they're actually going to look at you. Let's see how long this is. Perfect. That's nice and short. Okay. And then you've got these different things. And then you've got tape on you, 4 minutes. That's the appropriate length. They're not going to watch anything that's long. Looks like it might be a little dated, Rosalind. Okay. So we want to work on something that's got a higher quality resolution if possible. And then here, you got a nice webinar. Let's see what happens when I go there. They're just not gonna, the other thing is they're not gonna,
I'm Rosalind Sadaka, founder.
they're not gonna watch something this long typically unless they're, my experience is that a print reporter is gonna look at this. So one way to get around that is inside your description, just give them highlights about what you talk about so they can do a quick read on this. Okay. Now, so this is just a list of your past stuff. So there's not a whole lot new they can use. Okay, they could go down here, but what we're looking for is something fresh for them. So let's take a look and see. When you're looking at, so a lot of times people will say, oh, that person covered that. Michelle, call them and tell them I can speak about that. And my first thing is, well, what's something new that you have to say about that? Because they've already covered it. And if I just call them and say, hey, I love your piece on marriages in Hollywood Reporter, for example, to use the example that we used earlier, he's going to be like, well, what's something fresh? Well, what Rosalind has fresh is the child-centered piece of it. That's what's fresh. But if we look at, and you don't have to do your online press kits this way. Of course, we will help you if you need press kits that are this way. It uses our technology, online press kit 247, but just here's what works about this. Okay. So let's do, let's just do Mission K9 again, because we already talked about Mission K9. Just keep it simple. Up here we have social media. So it gives the owned assets. Down at the bottom, we have the public website. So this is what consumers see, but this is what our press sees. And they can see immediately, okay, this is who they are. Everything's short, easy to read. I've got 3 bios I can just cut and paste and go. Okay, this is the media page that's like the page that Rosalind had. I don't know if I can get back there now. I think I got, here it is, yeah. This is the equivalent of this page. See, they might want it if they're looking to see what's already been covered, but why they're looking about what's already been covered is so they don't do the same thing again. They want something different than what's already been published, especially they're looking for their competitors. So if you're Good Morning America, you're looking for the Today Show cover her. If you're something like the Dr. Oz, you're going to wonder what the doctors did. If you're CNN or MSNBC, you're going to be concerned if Fox did it. So they look to see if the competing in the space actually, now if they're not national and they're local, like here in my town, the Hendersonville Lightning is obsessed over what they're always trying to beat the Times News, right? So that's just the way it goes. So it is what it is, but if you have a particular competing organization to theirs, they might go, oh, well, it's already been covered by them. I don't want that. Or, oh, let's look and see what she looks like on camera. That's what this page is really about. Then you've got images that you can just, they can just use. These are images that are owned that you're giving the press. They can just use it for any story, ready to go. Here's a cheat sheet. Here's what you're going to ask them. Oh, you can even download it for your host so they don't have to read the book. They can just hop on, download this, print this, have this in front of them as they're interviewing them. It gives them a quick suggested intro. It gives them the topics and then some actual questions. It's like their cheat sheet, okay?
Hi,
And
this is Linda. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Did you have something to say? It's okay.
Yes, I was trying to unmute when you were talking about the media looking at the competition, and you mentioned, the high-end publications there, but it can be done locally. I did it recently for a Chinese New Year event that was focused on, martial arts.
Yes.
And I called the major papers, and I had a little competition going on between them on who was going to show up and who was going to do the big story. And one did it a full page or half a page on the front section of, what it fit, features and events, entertainment. That was the section that it was on. So it can work at any level. And it's the way you call them and how you talk to them, and it gets them going. You say, oh, I just called the Chronicle, and they're real interested, and they're coming. And then it gets them interested in coming and covering it. Or you can use that for anything, for your story. You can do that with them, and just don't be afraid to do it.
Thank you. What's your first name?
I'm Linda Berry from Temecula, California.
Oh, hey, Linda. Yeah, you like to call in. Thank you so much, Linda. I don't always recognize the phone numbers when they're on. So thank you, Linda. I think that what we were talking about with your press is that use it judiciously. So if I were to call Good Morning America and then say that next Tuesday I've got Rosalind actually scheduled for a divorce segment, they're not going to want to book that. Now, I have done the reverse. I remember one time, and I'm not going to say the venues because in the event, this is public. I don't want to really, and you want to use this very sparingly. And I'll show you a local example again, like the Hendersonville Lightning and the Times News. I wasn't getting any play by her. And so what I'm about to tell you, you want to make sure that you have a good relationship with these journalists before you do this, because it can really upset them. So she wasn't moving on my pitch. And I said, if you're not going to use my pitch, I'm going to give it to, and then I said the competing name. And Buddy, she said, I am going to use it. Just hold on. It's going to take me 2 weeks. But that's a way to get a pulse so that you can move on. Now, what Linda's talking about is when the timing, it's not evergreen. It's not like a lifestyle type of thing that's just whenever they're going to publish it, they're going to publish it. But there's actually an event. What she's talking about is actually leveraging frenzy, like getting excitement about something. So I'm going to give you guys remember that I shared about the asphalt plant that's happening locally. They did withdraw the application, and we anticipate that they're going to place another application within 6 months. But let's use an example of what happened with them. And you can just see we got tons of coverage. I mean, more coverage than I ever thought we would. But here is, at this point, applicant withdraws request for an app. So when he actually withdrew, I was on the phone with the Times News. And the Times News actually they were responding to a different pitch I had done. And this guy, Stephen Kindland, was on the phone with me. And I got off the phone, and one of he would always cover our stuff, was Bill Moss. So I got off the phone. You can see like how these publicize, right? This one came just a few minutes after Bill's. So Bill, I had to call him on the same day, and I said, listen, because he'd always taken all my stories. So to kind of Stephen was a new contact, Bill was an old contact. I got off the phone with Stephen. Because I was on the phone with him, I had to tell him about the withdrawal. And then I called Bill and said, by the way, I just want you to know I was on the phone with the Times News. They were interviewing me about the applicant just withdrew his application. And Bill was like, oh my gosh. And I said, I'm calling you out of courtesy because the Times News is moving on this right now. He goes, thank you so much. Hung up the phone with me, got all his facts in order. He beat them to the punch because they're trying to beat each other to the story. And that's what Linda's really talking about. So you can actually use the pitching timing judiciously. And my recommendation while you're getting started is just try not to upset people. Sometimes they get a little upset if you mention the other competing. Now, if it's the paper's fine to then tell the TV station or the radio and so forth. They don't care about that. So let's talk about, in the last breakout session, I want to talk about your media materials, like your press kit and what you have or what you don't have, or what you actually need to create this coming week. So we actually went through this example. So here we had news and story ideas. And by the way, this is what I see is missing, is news and story ideas, Rosalind. So that, you have, if we look at your website, you might actually have like a little one sheet or something that says like what you can also talk about. Like, this is great. You have the teleseminars, but you can also hit them over the head with, here's some things to actually interview me about and blah, blah, blah. Just like we do here with the Mission Canine. Whoops. Let me see where I'm at. Here it is. And then you can actually see that we are saying these are the great things to interview them about, and then please contact us. But this is gonna shift every month. We're gonna do something. We're gonna take one of these and then go deep with this. Okay. So we're gonna break into another group and then identify what you could actually add to your media materials this coming week. Okay, let's do that. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
In the
Bye-bye.
last 4 minutes, I'm going to answer some of these questions quickly that you put in the chat, and then we're going to do it again next Friday. Hannah, if you have the registration link for next Friday's class, please put that in the chat. And there's 3 little dots on the bottom right-hand corner of your chat box that you can left click on and then save chat to your computer so you have everybody's contact information and all these links. So one of the questions is what's more effective for first-time authors? That's debatable depending on the content. I would say always TV. Okay, that's my short answer, not knowing about the author's platform. Katie asks, as someone who promotes others, can you talk a little bit about how you promote yourself when you're used to promoting and publicizing others? Yeah, I just do that one sentence, Katie, and I sometimes change it based on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to like a magazine, like a Self or whatever, hi, I'm an international publicist. I specialize in well-being experts, or I specialize in personal development experts. And then that gets their ears, but that's not, who cares if I'm calling Stripes, right? Hi, I'm a publicist. I represent war dogs. That'll get their attention. So I tailor it, sort of like what I was coaching Rosalind to do. I tailor it based on who's listening. Can you create another landing page just for the media? We do. So, and if you need help, online press kit 247, throw it in, Hannah. If you need help, Hannah will get you what you need at hannah@wasabipublicity.com. Okay, great. Also, are we coming up on we are coming up on the holidays 10-year anniversary. Andrea, I don't quite get that.
No, it was just to Rosalind as she was talking. She had mentioned that it was the 10-year anniversary of the holiday, so I thought that'd be another pitching angle for her.
Smart. There you go, Rosalind. Did you catch that? Thank you so much, Andrea. Perfect. I think I got everybody's questions. Yeah. If you have a question afterward, write us, and we'll start again next Friday. It's something new we're doing in November, right? We're starting with questions, but I think that I kind of like, the mystery of it. Like, ooh, what kind of question are we going to get? And is there actually a segue back to the topics at hand? And surprise, of course it was, because we were talking about the online press kit. What we didn't talk a lot about was the big why. And it's because I've spent so much time on the big why. So before you do anything with this, okay, Cynthia's new with us. Before you do anything with the book, you got to identify your big why. Otherwise, don't do it. A lot of times people will get on the phone with me and say, can you get me on the Good Morning America? And I go, why do you want to be on GMA? And maybe there's a better way to get the word out. Maybe it's not just GMA. And then we've had people on GMA and Fox and other places, and they're like, it just didn't blow me out like I thought it would. Really? Because there's a ton of audience members, right? They're not just watching Good Morning America. If you're trying to reach millennials, it's Instagram. So, you got to think about who you want listening, okay? So until next Friday, have a wonderful week. Don't let the election get you down. We will know when we know. Okay. Bye, everybody.